Welcome guys to CiusP, this is me Cypher, and today I'm gonna be talking about the Wood Elf update that came up with the Twisted and Twilight DLC. I'm not gonna be talking about the Twisted and Twilight DLC itself, not the clan molder and all the fancy stuff they get. Just gonna be talking about the Wood Elf DLC and how basically it affected the Wood Elf gameplay in general. So let's jump in. Now, from my point of view, and I'm pretty sure if you watch other streamers, you will see that, especially those playing on Legendary and Very Hard Plus, these guys confirm to you that the Wood Elf has been nerfed in general. They are not like other factions after a DLC. They did not get a boost. They got a lot of fancy stuff, but not a boost. They got a nerf. Now, this is somewhat annoying, especially if you like a faction and you were really hyped about playing it after a DLC. Now, this faction is amongst my top three. It's currently third, and if what I'm gonna be providing now was to be implemented or is to be implemented in the future, I bet they will become second. First is always gonna be for Dark Elves, but I'm gonna be just giving you some stuff that, if to be implemented, will definitely improve this faction and will make it much more playable, especially in the end game. Now, what happened to this Wood Elf rework? They did provide a lot of improvements to the campaign mechanics, so you can have now the deep routes travel between um, all of these uh, magical forests every couple turns, and once you fully upgrade the Oak of Ages, it will be really fast. Like now I'm doing it every turn because I have the Wild Hunt, or because I just not the Wild Hunt, because I just finished another forest healing. uh, but you got the point. Like I can travel now -4, so maybe every 5 or 6 turns, maybe even less. This is nice. They added the Heathlands, which should be a really important settlement for the Wood Elf, or settlements to the Wood Elf, but it looks like they are not important. So what they did is same as, let's say, a farmer who passed his entire day milking cows. After he accumulated a lot of milk, he decided to throw all of the milk in the trash. That's what they did. They added so many things, but at some point there are things that were not really implemented well, and they crippled the economy of this faction. They also decreased their strength in army power in general. So let's jump in. Now you need to take into consideration that I'm gonna be talking about legendary and very hard perspective, because they are more affected by that. For instance, on this playthrough, I'm going legendary, and if you look at my upkeep, I'm paying 70,000 for 10 armies. So this is a lot of upkeep cost. If I didn't have that much, my economy wouldn't be that crippled. So people playing on easy, normal, and maybe even hard, they will not see the difference. They will be able to do everything. They will not be having issues with diplomacy, because very hard legendary, you'll be having a lot of issues with diplomacy. For instance, as soon as I captured this Switchwood, Nagaron declared war on me. A couple turns later, it's Morathi against me. They even went here, and I had to come after capturing this Gainvale to take over Lothern because it was all under control of the Dark Elf. I even had to help them a bit so they can maintain their presence for now, because like even here they are struggling. I needed them to stay because I have trade agreements with them. Same goes here. After coming here, the Skaven declared war on me. Uh, the Vampire Coast declared war on me. I struggled a lot. If you see at my economy, even though I'm at minus, I have a lot of cash because I was doing a lot of fights all over the map. So this was really like this 100 turn took me a lot of time to achieve, because sometimes every turn I had to do more than 5, 6 battles. It was somewhat um, unenjoyable to a level, but it's a challenge that you need to do. I'm happy with the challenge. I don't mind challenges. I just want to have a game that is more fun to play. I'm not talking about having a faction that can compete with the high elves in economy. I do not want that. I'm just talking more enjoyable experience. So let's be talking about stuff that will help the economy first. Then we'll be talking about stuff that will help the armies. So for the stuff that helps the economy, heathlands. These lands, if you play the Wood Elf, you will know how much they are important to the Wood Elves. They are really important to a level that you cannot grow a forest without capturing heathlands, or at least making defensive alliance with people capturing heathlands, because otherwise they will not provide you with forest growth, and if they are captured by enemies, they will in fact hinder the forest. So instead of getting plus, you will be getting minuses for the forest health. So what they did in the update, I'm using a mod here just to show you how a outpost should look like. But yeah, so what they did in the mod, in the update, they decided that every single outpost is no longer important to the Wood Elf, which I'm okay with. As a Wood Elf player, I do not have the intention of going and capturing the entire map before finishing the campaign objective, which is that I can finish it now and just quit the game. But I am not that kind of player, and I know there is a lot of player out there that like to keep playing the faction even after completing the campaign objectives. And I'm one of them, especially if I'm playing a faction that I enjoy. And playing the Wood Elves, I really want to continue the campaign even after I finish this campaign objectives. So what they did, again, they decided that every single outpost is not important. They decided that heathlands are very important, but they kept them as no importance in terms of outposts, which is wrong. Heathlands should be important as a land, and it should be important as an outpost as well. So what's need to be changed here is that Heathland's outposts need to provide 50 gold per level for the settlements and need to be upgradable to tier 3, every single Heathland. Now for lands with landmarks, I'll be talking about that later. So Heathlands need to have plus 50 gold per level, need to be upgradable to tier 3, and should have this building available to build, which will help us a ton, especially in the early game, to keep those land under control and prevent enemies from capturing them with minor armies, and we play the game of mouse and cat. So this 150 gold for Heathlands will provide a lot of bonuses for income. Now we have 8 magical forests, and let's say we have 5 Heathlands, so 150. This will give us maybe 5,000 in total, which is great. And this will give us the protection needed. So plus the building slot, so we have all building slot available once Heathland is fully upgraded. We'll be having the protection, we'll have the extra income. For example, this heathland will have 150 gold here, we'll have the 50 gold there, we'll be having this building, and we'll be having an extra slot for this building. So 3 levels, 3 building slots. This is for heathlands. Now, talking about settlements with landmarks. If you play the Wood Elf now, you will notice that landmarks provide nothing, and I do not like that. Build settlements with landmarks should provide the landmark to the faction. For instance, Bordelot need to have the Bordelot ports. We need to have, well, the Anvil, for example, had the building here, the Anvil building, which gives a minus 10% upkeep for the entire army faction wide. This is extremely important. So what should be done here is every single landmark should be available for the Wood Elf. Well, who is more to maintain a landmark than the forest itself? Like, they need to have those landmarks and get their bonuses. And for landmarks, the settlement will be treated slightly differently. So a building with landmark or settlement with landmark should be upgraded to its maximum potential. For instance, Vol's Anvil should go to level 3 plus 50 gold per level again, adding the defense building here, and availability of the landmark itself. However, for instance, landmark settlement like Ancient City of Quintex need to achieve the max level 5 with availability of the landmark. So we have the landmark, I forgot its name, but by the 5th level it provides about 800 gold for the faction plus maybe 100% increase in the income. Now the increase in income will not help a lot, but the landmark itself will help a lot. So Ancient City of Quintex need to be upgradable to tier 5 plus 1 building slot per level plus 50 gold per level. So the settlement will provide 250 gold by the time it reaches its full potential, and for sure this building should be available as well to better protect the landmark. This has to be available for all landmarks, whether it is Elven, it is in the desert here. There is another landmark that is not available. So yeah, for every single landmark, the Wood Elf need to have access to it. Now, another thing that has to be improved to rebalance the loss of port income. Now, I do like what they did here with the Elven Colony, which is 100 gold, port income, all region plus 2%. This is the trait that I'm talking about, the 2% all region. The income from ports in the same settlement is good, but it's not gonna be affecting much because, for example, here we only have one port. However, the plus 2% ports is really important. And what need to be done here is that every single settlement, elven settlement that has a port need to be treated as an elven colony for Wood Elves. So in total we have maybe 20 settlement with ports, including the elven colonies. So that includes the Dark Elf, the High Elf. We have maybe 20 in general, in total, sorry. So this will provide us with the plus 40% increase in the economy, in the income from ports. So this will drastically increase the income for this faction, and the minus 17,000 will go to maybe minus 7 by now, including the Heathlands increase. And Gainville should be fully upgraded. It is a a magical forest after all, so just having it leveled up to here without the inclusion of the extra 2 building, it's somewhat decreasing its value as a magical forest since it does not have access to all of the building slots. And one more thing that I want to be hinting about is the gold. Gold mines are now kinda useless to the Wood Elves. It used to provide 500, now it's barely providing 100. Well, not barely, it's providing 100 plus the increase due to trade. So this need to be 500 again. Otherwise, it's not gonna be like you see. It's not really important. So this, for example, settlement should be a elven colony because it is one of the dark elf um, settlements. It has to be upgradable to tier 3, so we have plus 150 gold. This goes to 500 gold, and there is an increase in the income from the ports. So this settlement, for example, will be giving us because of the settlement, we'll be getting maybe 2,000 instead of the 1,400. So all of these little things will accumulate over and over, and we'll be having good economy in general for the late game, especially if you want to continue the game. So that should be it for the economy. I hope I was clear, and I hope that we will be seeing these implemented in new patches. Now, let's be talking about army improvements. Now, talking about army, we need to agree that the Wood Elf, especially when talking about ranged troops, has been um, nerfed, and a lot of nerf has been applied to them. Now, as you can see, this is the max basically that can be achieved by Waywatcher, 229 range, 60 damage. The range before could be easily achieved to 280, and the damage can easily overcome 100 because of the buildings, because of the heroes. The Talon of Kurnos now is no longer important for heroes. It does not affect the army. It's only the Lord's Talon of Kurnos that now affects the army. So this is a big nerf that need to be addressed, and how to do that is simply the same way that they addressed the attrition thing. Now, if you remember here before the update, there was a skill here or a tech here that used to give a total immunity to the faction. Now, what they did here is they left it at immune to storm and reef attrition, but as more as you control forests, or let's say the more fully healed forests you own, the more of these buildings you will own. Thus, you will be able to have immunity to specific things. So if I upgrade and build this building, I'll have immunity to desert attrition, immunity to barren and wasteland attrition. If I fully upgrade Gainville, I'll be able to build this, which is gonna give me immunity to chaos attrition, so on and so forth. So if you control all of the magical forest, you will regain the full immunity. So why not implementing this same perspective for Lord traits? And traits, I'm talking only traits, these traits, the special traits for the faction. So what's happening here is that you have the Talon of Kurnos plus 10% for Lord's army. However, this is fixed. So why not make it variable? So a Lord with low level will get a 10% range, but every 10 turn this trait will gain plus 5%. So by the time the Lord reaches level 40, this will be 30%, and those units, instead of being 229, they will be most likely 266. It's still not as much as it used to be before, but 266 will make up for the range um, between these units and, let's say, the Elven the Death Claw, it's called. I don't remember. The Siege Elves, the Siege for Elves. It's 340, 360. This faction does not have Siege, so if we increase their range, they they will somewhat make up for their deficit in range compared to sieges. So this is the first thing that can be implemented easily with a patch, just every 10 turns plus 5%. And same goes for the other traits. I'm not sure if you want to change the Ariel's Chosen, maybe to give it +2 Winds of Magic or something. I don't have it here, but anyways, uh, just just those special traits for the faction will be upgradable one every 10 turns with the Lord. So this Lord will become more valuable to the faction, and you will be more, uh, let's say, happily engaged with the Lord. You will have a Lord to focus on a lord, increase his level instead of just having a lord with whatever trait, and let's say, okay, this lord is gonna have an army and let's go attack. No, then you will be hunting for lords with the traits that you want, because you know that by the time that this lord reaches his full potential, his trait will be much better, his army will be much better, and he'll have much better effect on the faction in general. Now, let's talk about Orion. Yes, Orion. Now, after that DLC, the lords that were added with the DLC had somewhat are much better than the lords that used to be in the game. For instance, Trika, I'm really enjoying her campaign. She has the malevolent units. The sisters has the trait for the hawks, which is the arrow of Kronos, I believe it's named, so they can shoot the arrow all over. This is really nice. But what happened here is that these two lords has really overcome the other two lords, so Orion and Durthu, and these guys are now not really as important as the two new lords. Now, excluding Durthu because I believe he got the most out of the patch or out of the update because he can change or he can upgrade the forest spirits. He has access to the Way Watchers, and in his faction he can also recruit these guys. So he has the most out of it. As for Orion, he's the weakest lord for the faction. He does not provide much bonuses to the faction. Sorry, and I believe he really needs some improvements. Now, if you look at him as a lord, he's really strong. Just in terms of strength, he's really strong. But in terms of faction, he does not provide that much. So I do know that you want to really show how good the new DLC lords are, but you also need not to forget that Orion and Durthu are part of another DLC. So these guys, in order to be able to be played on this game, we need to own the first game, we need to own the Wood Elf on the first game. So in terms of cash, they are more valuable than the other two lores that were added with the DLC. More than that, lore-wise, Orion is the God King of the Deepwood, so he has to be the strongest character for this faction. He must be the strongest character for this faction. So what can be done here is adding to his special tree. For instance, the Bounty of Kurnos, it adds ammunition plus 100%, ability number for uses +2 for Hawk's Talon. Why not adding the arrows of Kurnos for Hawk Riders once this is unlocked? So you will go this, that, we have ammunition increase, plus the arrows of Kurnos, which is now only for sisters, but his Orion, so he has access to it once we unlock that. Another thing, the Talon of Kurnos upgrade, which increased the army for the range for the army. Once we reach this upgrade, Never Ending Hunt, for example, he will get the fully upgraded version of it. So plus 30% range for all troops of his on his army. This is army wise, so he's improving now the whole faction, he's improving the whole army. Another thing, plus 5,000 range for spotting. So this is not really that important, but if we add plus 100 range for himself, so he's gonna become 280 plus the 30% more like 320. So now he is back to be the king of the hunters with 320 range, and this is only campaign wise. It has nothing to do with the PvP. I'm just talking campaign. So he has the highest range, he has increase to the range of the army, and he has the Hawks improvements. Moreover, once we upgrade that, he's gonna get Siege Attacker on his Javelin, so he can now take down towers and walls with his Javelin. He's a god at the end. He's really strong. He can outmatch anyone in the forest with his range attack, even outside of the forest. So these changes to his specific skill tree will make him much more important to the faction, much more uh, powerful by himself. And since you added the lady, his lady, why not giving something special for him once she is in his army? Like, I know she improves any army that she is attached to, but why not giving him, let's say, frenzy when she's in the army? Plus, whenever her health pool goes down, he's gonna become much stronger. So let's say same as the goblins, not the goblins, no, the units for the orcs that whenever it reaches specific thresholds in its health pool, it increases in power. But Orion, whenever the lady goes 25% health down, he's gonna get, let's say, 10% increase in strength because he needs to protect her. Why not doing that? This will be extremely awesome when adding her in his army. Is gonna become a beast, and same goes for Dryka. So when adding Codiel into her army, for example, we're gonna be having, instead of the stance that is non-stance, we're gonna be getting the stance which is same as the Skaven, so we can ambush. Like, instead of just going normal attack, she will be ambushing everyone. She has control over the forest with Codiel by her side, and no one can stop them from um, ambushing anyone they want. Just once Codiel is in her army. If he's out, she's gonna come back to normal stance. Now I do believe that it's gonna be the same uh, as Ariel. So when I fully upgraded the Witchwood, I got Ariel. Maybe when I fully upgrade the Griffinwood, I'll be getting the Codiel. I believe so. I really hope that. Now this should be it for the army update. Those changes will make a lot of difference for the army. They will bring these guys back to the top of the food chain for the ranged troops. Now, they are high in damage, but if we are to compare them with sisters, I believe sisters are better because we can have an entire army of sisters. They do have less range, a bit less damage, but do not forget that they have much better stats. So sisters can be in the front row, they can take on enemies head on while her sisters in the back shoot, and they will be shooting when the enemy is coming at them. They are much better in every aspect. For these guys, however, I cannot do that. I have to have couple tree men in the army to suck on the damage while they'll deal the damage. So they need to have more range. They definitely need that. Uh, just one more thing, because I'm facing a bug, I believe. Now, if you look, if I order Drycat to come here, she will be facing attrition, and I was facing attrition in the high seas. Now, I have upgraded the immunity to storm and reef attrition, and I do have control over the galleon graveyard, which also give me immunity to attrition, reef attrition, and immunity to maelstrom. So I do not know why I'm still facing attrition here. Maybe this is a bug that need to be fixed, maybe not. Maybe I got something wrong. I have no idea. If you know why, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that should be it. I really hope that you agree with me in the points that I just offered. Let's try to make them reach the devs. I'm not sure if they will be doing any changes, even if they reach them, if those demands reach them. But maybe if a lot of people like the video and the devs really show that people are interested in that, maybe they will give it some time of their time and make those little changes. I'm pretty sure it will not take a lot of time, since nothing will be changed on the big map. Well, nothing in fact will be changed to the way they play. Everything will remain the same, just some changes to the lore traits, and some changes to the Orion's trait, a couple changes to the settlements, the specific settlements that I mentioned in the video. So yeah, I really hope that I'll be seeing those changes in the near future. Again, if you like the content, give it a like, and if you know someone in the development team and you can provide them with this video, I'll be grateful. I really want it to reach them. Maybe they will see those information. Maybe they had it in mind, maybe they did not. And if they see what I just provided, they will like it and they will add it in the near future. This will be really helpful to this faction in general, especially if you plan to play a long campaign. So after you finish with the objectives and just not sticking with it. So yeah, this is me, Cypher. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and have a great day.